welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is September 28th, 2023. Bender, what do you know on this day of September?
I'm like 80% sure it's Thursday because you told me yesterday that today would be Thursday. So
I
think that's where we're at.
So let's just take it one step further. What's the following day?
Friday.
Right. And what happens then?
Then it's the weekend.
Yeah. It's when you can just sit there and sip bourbon and watch whatever you need to watch.
I don't have to wait for the weekend for that. Let's be clear.
I kind of do. I stay away from the alcohols during the week. I don't do the alcohols during the week. I have plenty of other things that I do. Would prefer a box of donuts, if I'm being honest. You know what I really miss?
Or indulging on an entire cake, or maybe getting rolled out of a buffet, because you tend to do those things too.
Well, that was a weekend activity.
There you go.
So thank you for joining the show yesterday. It was very, very nice. A couple of quick observations about Bender that I think is important that we make. A couple of quick observations. Bender is a little bit pudgier than I thought he was.
Oh my God.
He is a little.
He did it, y'all. You join him on something like that, and then he calls you fat. And
I said pudgy. I said, hey, let me finish. Let me finish. However,
this mother
Bender. However, Bender might have some of the most beautiful eyes that have ever been formed out.
This is disgusting.
This boy, even though he a little bit pudgy, okay, just a little bit, he has a set of beautiful eyes. That was my observation.
I don't even like it. I don't even talk about, like, you're like, oh, what kind of hat should I get? And I'm like, I don't give a fuck, dude. What kind of shoes should I wear? I don't give a shit.
But
I don't understand why we're.
But I always say what I think, right? I always say if I think something, I have to say it. It's like it's very difficult for me to hold it back. But
well, Bender, there's
it's like I was
some things.
It's like so it's at least we know why your wife sticks around. It's like you can probably look at her and say whatever, and she's like, okay, Bender, your eyes are so pretty. It's like I get it now. It makes sense. It makes sense. It does.
Wow.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. As far as such as and whatnots, we had Micron reporting yesterday. Numbers not that bad, but they decided to sell down. There was a slight guide up to both my and Maria's, but they still wanted to sell down. As far as global news, politics are a massive piece of the puzzle right now. So anybody sitting there in their chair going, well, I don't want to hear about politics. That means you don't want to hear about the market. Is really what it means. So you need to go ahead and zip your mouth with all that there. We still have issues in Congress as far as the debt ceiling. We have issues from the standpoint of from a political standpoint, how we're negotiating with Saudi as far as giving them weapons for oil, essentially, is what we're trying to accomplish over there. There are a lot of politics taking place right now that are shaping the market. Saudi basically controls oil with OPEC. And we know what that story is all about there. Coming into the day, Bender shared a chart intraday yesterday as far as potential, bounce, and we did indeed bounce within that range. It's very difficult to pick an ultimate bottom because Bender? We talked about it a couple of times. I think Pete mentioned it when you're drawing trend lines and you're drawing support and resistance. If you want to be right, make sure you use a really thick line.
That's correct.
So it's it's like the cats that say that they nailed it to the penny. It's like, oh, okay, well, everybody wins the lotto every once in a while, but it's like it's that range in that area that you start looking to pick up the pieces. And even though we had a nice pop both last night that sold, both this morning that sold, we are still currently above yesterday's low with a decent looking formation. Decent, not great, decent. I will say this about flow yesterday. When we had that big rocket up and move, I made a point of saying that I did not see bottoming flow. It was not something that was on the page. Still, I have to walk into this morning when Flow opens and starts spitting out lines. I have to keep in mind that Flow is still bearish. Can't even call it neutral. It is still bearish. So that shift needs to take place in order to feel comfortable, as far as trying to buy the dip in a meaningful way. It's okay if you want to kind of leg in. It's okay if you want to, nickel and dime, knowing that you got more cash in there to add into a longer term position. Nothing wrong with that. But there are still a lot of questions. And historically, when it comes to Congress and the debt ceiling and all that kind of stuff, we get some volatility as far as, oh, looks like it's going to pass. Green candle, green candle, green. Oh no, somebody wants to build a playground in central Missouri, but it's not going to be on the little thing, so it's not going to pass. Red candle, red candle, red candle. Look, it's like this is gamesmanship, but it is a part of the market. It is. So again, anybody saying they don't want their politics and the market intertwined, you have no idea how the fucking market works. So hang your hat on that one. Bender, that's about all I really have. We're still in the same position. Tomorrow's data point is going to be pretty substantial.
Yeah.
What you got, buddy? Hey, are we streaming audio in Domain?
No.
No. Okay.
No, we don't do that in the morning because I don't know what they're saying and we won't be able to hear them and we'll be talking over them. So
Got it.
I don't turn that on until we get through this. But yeah, so this is the move that you were kind of talking about from yesterday. We hit this short up against the top of the trend line and we were looking for this to kind of bottom out and then make a move up, which it did. It went a little bit lower than what I was looking for, but sometimes you draw this stuff out and you're like, well, this is the idea, this is the plan, and sometimes it just works out. So that was yesterday's kind of action. That move up took us to we made a 4 standard deviation move within 1 tick. So sometimes you can. This kind of stuff, sometimes you can get it right, like within a tick or two. Now, when we're talking about these longer term trend lines, yeah, you better color with a thick marker, thick brush, because it does get tricky. And like we were talking about yesterday, they love to overshoot, right? So this gray line right here is that longer term trend line. Go back out to like a 4-hour here. You can see where that comes into play. That is that trend line. And if you remember, I think we were, I don't know, up in here somewhere a couple weeks ago, maybe even a little bit higher up in here. And we were talking about if we got this move down, again, this blue line being the 200 on the daily, if we got an opportunity, a move down to be able to buy below the 200 on the daily, and they gave it to us, right? Does it mean that we won't or can't pull a little bit lower? Sure, we can. Here's this is what, 42.64.5, sitting down there. Came down, we dropped just below that 1414 extension off that down move. And you have this little swing low hanging out here, and then you got the 1618 down at 42.31. So, if they want to pull it a little bit lower, again, they like to overshoot. So is that overshoot over? Are we overshot? I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to be looking for, as I talked about over the last week, when that low is made, we will have some time. We will get a market structure shift on like a 4-hour time frame, right? That's what I'm looking at here is a 4-hour. And if I zoom back on the 4-hour from 4208 all the way up here to 46. Was that 46.85.75?
Mm-hmm.
We'll call it from 40. Where did that structure shift happen? Kind of right in here. So if you're looking at the 4 hour, starting right here, 42.08.75, you did not make a lower low all the way up to the top, right? All these swings, you did not make a lower low. So this is what I'm anticipating, is that we will get a structure shift on the 4 hour that looks something like we got right in here. So we made a low, failed to make a lower low, failed to make a lower low, failed to make a lower low, pull back, even still makes a higher low. And then you got this move up that took out that. And the reason that's significant is because this was essentially buyers saying, okay, maybe this is the bottom, and they push it up, they push it up, they push it up, and then they get smacked with a stick, right? And the sellers are like, oh no, we're not done yet. And the bears step in and they push and they make that lower low, take out all this stuff, take that lower low right down to the trend line. Now, this leg right here is full of sellers. You can see the candles in there. This was full of selling to make that push, right? So then once we climb our way back up and we take this out, it's like all these stops get taken and then we fail to come back down here ever. So it's like, okay, we get a potential shift in here. And if you look at a 60-minute, you can find some fair value gaps in here that it kind of pulls down and trades down into, right? This is kind of what I'm looking for. So when we see this on a 4 hour, we will have plenty of time to make these trades. So we don't have to be in a hurry. It's going to give us the setup. It's going to show us, again, we can be patient.
Now. I want it right now.
I want it all.
I want
it
the Hungry
right
Man
now.
dinner with the crispy chicken skin is what I want, and I want it now.
All right, so let me zoom in real quick, and we got the 15-minute right here. You can see the pre-market low that I have marked out, 43.0225. If we dip below that and don't reclaim it pretty quickly, then we might trade down here into this 15-minute fair value gap. I would not want to see yesterday's low. I would like to see this ultimately hold. If it doesn't, we can go visit some of those levels I gave, that 1618 extension, or down to that other swing low. But let's hold this fair value gap in here, just above this trend line. Let's see if they leave that open. If that stays open, and we can go take out, first level really to look for is this on the 15-minute 43.28.25, and then you've got that high from yesterday, which is 43.36 half. And then we can start filling some of this stuff in. We have that 60-minute fair value gap. And then the big one, 43.66.75. This is where if we push up, we push through this little swing high. And if we can maintain, we push through, even if we pull back, if we can maintain above, say, 43.20, 43.17 right in here, if we can maintain above that, and then make another push through 36 half, I would be looking here at a minimum, 43.66.75. And that's where you got to kind of have your head on a swivel, see what they do with it. If it crosses that, and the same thing does go here. If it crosses that and then, pulls back down into it, leaves a fair value gap behind that, it then reverses into, and that becomes resistance, well, then that would tell me that it probably wants to come down here. But if it gets through it and it can hold, up above, say 27, and then pop back above, I would be looking up here. 66.75. And from there we can, we'll give out levels as they come if we are way up. And I think that's about it. I covered the daily yesterday in the morning and then again on the show. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, no, good job. Good job. Sonny, what you got, man?
Morning, everyone. Light on the news. So one of the significant ones would be China is going to be on vacation from 29th to October 6th. So we may see some lighter volume in after hours futures. Other than that, so they're talking about,
Does that mean that Xi can't sneak in anybody's bed who's holding any type of Chinese ticker and molest them? Is that what
pretty
that
much.
means?
Yep.
That he's going to be, you might be able to buy some China names and not get molested overnight.
Yeah, but you may get molested in a week. So.
Well, Xi, man, it's like Winnie the Pooh over there. He come touch you in the middle of the night when you're thinking everything's grand.
Yep. So, but the good thing is, a couple of weeks later, they put out the travel numbers, casino numbers, things like that. So, MLCO, when all of those that are in Macau, there could be good buys because they usually put up a higher numbers since there's no restrictions, COVIDs, and all of that stuff for now. So if there's a dip, maybe buy it, especially in JD, Baba, because they report holiday numbers, sales numbers, things like that come in. So they were talking about the home builder stocks kind of fizzling down, that, houses are too expensive and that run up may be over. But if you look at the seasonality of it, usually this is the slow time anyways, because people usually move before the school year starts and the move is kind of done when the school starts. So it's, I think, just bullshit headline anyways. NIO held talks with Mercedes to discuss sharing of technology, investment, and things like that. It's kind of interesting because the other one that had held talks with Mercedes for Europe was a while back was Rivian. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Peloton struck a deal with the Lulu people, and they're gonna send people across, hey, if you want to do exercise, go to Peloton. If you want to buy gear, you go to Lulu, that kind of stuff. It's like a 5-year partnership. The Meta conference, today is the second day of that. They are talking about some AI that they're doing. They may be getting out of augmented reality AR because they're losing a lot of money in it. But they are putting a lot more into AI. They're also looking to put ads into WhatsApp. So that could be another revenue stream from them. So if you hear more about it, may get some spike on it. On the upgrade and the downgrade, so upgrades, Redfin, this is like the second or the third upgrade in the past few days. TSCO, pretty light on that side. On downgrades, we have OSK. Netflix, they cut down the price target.
I'm sorry, that TSCO, that's is that like luxury goods and shit like
that?
No,
that's Tractor Supply. So, cat, deer.
that's Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply. Yeah.
I got a Tractor Supply where I'm at.
Okay.
It's like, it's happening.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it has anything to do with cat and deer.
There's a Kubota little thing across the street from it. That's interesting. Interesting thought, Spender. Thank you.
Yeah. The other price target cuts were on Spotify and Workday. So Workday had their investor day the other day, and they are lowering their guidance on subscription growth to 17 to 19% versus the 20% expected through 2027. So they got dumped 10% because till 2027, hey, you're going to be down by about like 2% on your subscription growth. Events today, Affirm, they have their fireside chat. AMT, so AMT, we got this really large sweep yesterday. So they have their they are at the RBC Capital Markets Global Communications Infrastructure Conference. Damn, that was a mouthful. Yeah, so they're at a conference today. The other one is Philip Morris and Desktop Metal. And on the dark pool side, so we had some really nice dark pool into MBLY. That was 66%, CY at 40.26. CYRX 180% at 13.20. On the mega caps, and I think and Hells, we did talk about this on Twitter, was to chart up Visa because that got some nice dark pool yesterday, 4% at 229.50. There was a large XLF dark pool at 23%, 33.24. And Meta, they keep adding dark pools. This one is 6% at 297.74. I did post all of this in my room, so you can go take a look. I also posted dark pool targets significant on Apple, the past ones that I've collected on my chart. So I put some upside and downside targets, easy to copy and paste into your chart if you want to do so. And
So Visa continues to be interesting to me over there, one way or the other. What are you thinking, man? It's like I think that there's an interesting play one way or the other.
well, with the
Visa.
credit card delinquencies going up, but they're also at the same time they're saying, hey, there's more travel happening, and that's where Visa
Right.
makes most of its money, right? International travel, the
Mhm.
conversion fee and shit like that. And everybody is pumping that travel is strong, especially overseas. So I do see, especially in Visa, MasterCard, I do see some move up coming in. And it's, American Express also got nice 6% dark pool at 149.90.
And it's also it hit the 200 on the daily last night or yesterday.
Yeah.
We've seen a
And
couple of things come down and do it. So in the last, so it did that in June, and we had a ricochet bounce in June.
right.
And
And with
I
the
think
holiday season coming up, right? So the
Mhm.
people are going to be spending more. Like if their
Right,
cash reserves are gone, then they're going to be taking on more credit. And
right.
they made it so much easier. Like once you reach a limit, they freaking automatically increase your limit,
Mhm.
you know?
So it's really it's a really interesting trade. You can see we're right on a level right here where it can break down or get a pretty good bounce. The breakdown would be awfully painful on it.
right.
Because you're probably looking to come down and test into that 210ish range, which would be awfully painful. But
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
I'll draw some levels on it. I'll post it a little bit later today.
Yeah,
And we can, because I do level to level.
it's like it
So
seems like I've seen a little bit of spec flow to the upside on Visa over the
yes,
past several days on the sell.
yes.
So it's very intriguing to me for a trade.
Yeah. And yesterday I had talked about SPX. I gave specific levels. I don't know if anybody traded it. I said like, hey, we're gonna get an initial pump at the open. Then there's a shit ton of puts sitting at 40 to 50. And if we get to that area, we can have like a very nice squeeze to the upside. I don't know if anybody took a note, whatnot. Um, but that played out perfectly, right? So like when we got there, I said, hey, looks like inverted head and shoulder, even though that failed, made a higher low. And if you took an entry, it was a very low risk entry. And I'll brag a little bit here. I took mine the 40 to 55 call from 235 to $33.
Very
And
nice,
that's it.
good stuff.
So I'll put up the
Very.
SPX numbers again. So if you want to take a look, just make a note, draw it on your chart, and play it.
You draw it on your chart.
Yeah.
Stonkington, what you got there, buddy?
All right, what's up? I'm here. Let's go. Do some sharing, and looks like Bender and I are seeing some same things over there on the NASDAQ. Get into this. We've heard the Visa talk. Throw this one up here. June.
Look, it's everywhere you want to be.
I mean, is not Discover, so that's one thing.
Right.
This was the big one from June. 227.17. So we've got also some alerts that can pop in the room.
Right.
133% average 30-day, sitting just below here. And you guys were talking about the June run up. So we'll get some alerts here. But we do have a big ER tonight. And so I think it's time We got Nike. And here today, Hells, these are called sneakers. There's no mystery. There's no titillations today. You know what you're getting on the docket today is going to be sneakers. These are going to be the Nike SB Dunk Low Paris on the docket for today. No mystery about this one.
It's like I couldn't pay, like, me personally, I could not pay more than like $19 for those.
Hells is in at 19.
I'm
Brick's in
not.
at 15K.
Well, I said me, but I know there's a lot of dumb people that pay like thousands of dollars for sneakers because they're like, oh, and then they put special things on the bottom of them. How do you buy a pair of sneakers and then put like things on the bottom of them so you don't get them dirty? It's like, what?
I mean,
What's going on? What did you say to keep them fresh?
You got to have your drip. You have drip,
Well,
Hells?
if you're going to offer Riz, you got to have drip. So I think I'm going to have to, go ahead and back down off of this statement. I think 'cause you can't. It's like, Bender, are you feeling Rizzy today?
All right. Well, we got a winner. It's going to be Brick Top. These are coming in at $216,000. Someone wants to pay for those. There you go.
See,
Brick
this is
Top.
what I'm talking about.
You got a steal over there.
This is what I'm talking about.
All I got to say is if your shoes have more than 2 words in it, there's something wrong. Like flip flops, okay, I get that, right? But if you got to be like, oh, I got the Nike 1-3 Air Force 2 1991 red, no.
But if you pay more than let's
Better shit to spend your money on.
Adjust this for inflation. If you spend more than $150 on a pair of tennis shoes that you have to bubble wrap in order to wear, you need help. You need help.
Yeah.
Or instead, just give me the money. Just send me your money. When you're looking to do that, I'll hold it and never give it back. It'll be about the same.
Probably the same guy who waited in line for 6 hours for a new iPhone. But hey, we'll see.
I bet that guy had some Riz wearing his Reebok Orlando. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. So
Gotta be drippy.
gotta stay drippy. Here's the NASDAQ 4-hour. My version of drawing trend line with a wide brush is the dotted lines as a reminder for myself that they can do overshoots. But this is what I was waiting on yesterday, which also lined up with a nice pop. Bender noting we maybe have a left shoulder, head, right shoulder of an inverse head and shoulders over here. So Mr. T order block type stuff. If this big candle down was a bull who wanted to get in cheaper, we're coming back into an area. I would want to see this hold, which Bender also was noting on the hourly is filling in as a little bit below, but it would be filling in this gap to right here, which they're respecting. So would want to see that area hold. And then originally, if I was thinking this was a bullish order block candle over here, we lost it. So if we're going to push up, I think this is going to be an important area. And then if we can cruise through that, we've got this new week opening gap. And then we've got a weekly fair value gap, which I have split here with fibs into quarters that can give us some ideas for areas on the way up that we could keep an eye on there on the NASDAQ. As Bender mentioned, we could go lower. But what I'll be watching if we do is if we continue to get taps off this lower trend line, and my inner bull is looking for us to put in this massive flag. So we'll see what we get over there on the NASDAQ. If we jump over to the Russell, we have this one of these descending megaphone type setups here. We've been in this falling channel. I've got this level marked here, potentially just seeing, we've got candle bodies closing above. We've got some reactions. We got reactions. So I want to see this 1788.70 hold. If we do, then we can get up into this weekly gap, which again, I've split into quarters. So we have some levels to keep in mind above 1817.10, 1829.40. So we that kind of got that going on with the weekly volume imbalance in the middle there. And then the big oh shit level below for the Rusty is going to be that 1776.6. If we lose that, that's a daily level from back here. Then we've got room to continue down, maybe even need to take out these guys on relative equal lows on the daily for the Rusty. Let's see, outside of that, going to continue to keep an eye on Meta. Check this one out. This was a good example of, trend lines don't need to be set in stone. From yesterday was really interesting how, I've been tracking this kind of flag falling wedge setup here. They do their event and nobody's got new glasses or something, and they sell the shit out of it, and then we rip back up. So this is going to be, Sonny mentioning dark pools again on Meta. I'm going to watch that 300.83 above, and then if we were to push to the downside first, be looking, if you wanted to be aggressive, you could probably look at, again, something right around here. A lot of stuff going on right there. And then below, then we've got some other dark pool below 294.24. So we'll see what we get over there on Meta. And then the other one I want to keep an eye on today is going to be AMD. So AMD popped and held this little dark pool here, 96.75. So next above, I want to see us pop and hold 99.8 for the upside. And again, still in this big falling channel over here on AMD on the 4 hour. And there was a little gap here on the daily that they've left open for now. So I'd like to see this cross up and through that as well for bull. If we lose the dark pool, then next I'll be looking for that 95.25. And then got some bids below that I'll call in the room. But that's all I got.
All right. Where's Hells? Did he take off? Yeah, looks like he did. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Stonkington. Let's see. We got a little less than 6 minutes left. Anybody got anything else, son?
No, that's it.
No.
Thank you.
Good to go. All right. Awesome. Well, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes, whatever it is, still open. Don't fuck it up. And we'll see you tomorrow.